Hey everybody, hopefully this is all working. I'm going to pop over to the group on my computer and make sure that it is indeed live and that I'm live in the right group, and I am. I always get super paranoid because I'm an admin on a bunch of different Facebook groups, and I get really paranoid that I'm going to accidentally go live in a group that I'm not supposed to be in, and they're going to be wondering what the heck I'm talking about. So I had a few minutes in between calls today, and I have been thinking a lot recently about my own journey to kind of healing my struggles around food and around body, and then also what I've been talking to a lot of other people about, my mentors and my colleagues and clients and people in my community. And there's just a really common theme, and this is something that I know now after spending a lot of time working on my issues with food and body, but it's this idea that we always kind of look at our struggles with food and body in a negative light. There may be unwanted behaviors that we just don't like. We may binge eat, we may overeat, we may emotional eat, we may constantly berate ourselves for the way that we look. There's any number of things that we do on a daily basis to ourselves that really give us a negative energy and put our struggles in a negative light. But I always like to reframe those into a more positive, more positive place, because honestly, when we're coming towards our struggles from a negative place, we become a victim. When we move towards our struggles from a positive, empowered place, we have much more control and much more power in that situation. So that's why I love to reframe things. But today I just wanted to talk about kind of reframing our struggles with food specifically, because whenever I'm talking to people about their challenges with food, it usually always comes down to I don't have enough willpower, or man, I just wish I had more self-control, or I must be the only person in the entire world who has a problem like this. Nobody else could be struggling the way that I am. So we get really kind of caught in this me, this just me place. Like it's really all about us. It's all about our struggles and just how horrible they are. But I want to challenge you to kind of reframe these into a positive light. So I am here to tell you that if you have unwanted behaviors around food, whatever those may be, however they may be manifesting for you, it's not a willpower problem. You're not a willpower weakling. You don't need to go get more willpower. It's not a self-control problem. You don't have issues with self-control, at least in this area. It's not a you're broken problem. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not defective. You're not broken. Our challenges with food are here for a really good reason. We just have to take steps forward to figure out what that reason is. And so what I mean by that, and it kind of gets into just a very kind of primal place. So our challenges with food can manifest for a gazillion different reasons. But some of the most common ones that I tend to see are either a past trauma, some sort of past trauma, either from childhood or even into adulthood, something that just hasn't been worked through properly. It could have been, again, trauma as in some sort of abuse, but it could have also been trauma from some sort of life event that happened. Perhaps you lost a job, or you lost your parents, or you lost a loved one or a friend or somebody that was really close to you. You went through some period of loss that maybe wasn't grieved and expressed in a way that it needed to be fully expressed. So all of those kind of residual emotions are kind of hanging out in you. It can also, I would say trauma and past life events that haven't been worked through. I call them undigested life events. I got that from my mentor, Mark David, but we just haven't digested those events fully. They linger in us. Other issues is we just don't have really good ways or good systems in place to help us manage stress. We don't have good systems in place to help us manage emotions, because we as humans, we go through 1,000 different emotions in a day, and sometimes those emotions, they just come in and they move on out, and then other times they linger. They may stay there for the whole day, or they may stay there for the whole week. So what happens is we kind of get stuck in this emotional place, and we don't we don't know how to like process and release those emotions so that they move on out. An emotion is a physical sensation that happens in the body. It's an actual physical thing that happens. But typically the whole process from start to finish for an emotion only lasts for about 60 to 90 minutes. That's the actual biological process for emotions. Thank you. I see that we have somebody who popped up on here. So thank you guys. If you're hopping on, please leave me a comment down below or something. Let me know that you're here. That way I know I'm not talking to myself, which I do a lot, but so we just are not processing those emotions and letting them move through our body. We're kind of staying stuck and stagnant with those emotions. Another reason that I see people getting having struggles around food is they just don't have good strategies in place for self-care. They maybe are just running 5 million miles a minute and they're not taking time out of their day to really focus on taking care of them and their needs. So if you haven't already signed up for my free self-care e-course, I'll make sure I pop a link down in the video description below when I'm done with this. That's a really good place to start. If you feel like self-care is really lacking in your life, that's a really good place to start. I've made it super easy. Self-care doesn't have to take a ton of time. It doesn't have to break the bank. Oh, hi, Garrett. It does. I totally didn't do that on purpose. So yeah, self-care, it absolutely needs to be a practice, a daily practice for you guys. Multiple times a day if you can work it in, but even if it's just 5 minutes first thing in the morning or before you go to bed, just something that kind of gets you back in touch with yourself, it's going to change your life, honestly. And I truly believe that healing on a very deep level where most of us need it, it doesn't happen until we have a really good self-care strategy in place. So that's why I'm like, I think self-care is probably at the very top of my list when I work with people, and I get really excited about it. So I think I'm kind of rambling at this point. So just to kind of come back to the main topic. So the struggles that we may face around food, you're not a willpower weakling. You don't need more self-control. You're not broken. Definitely none of those things. The struggles are there for a really good reason. So in the case of people who are maybe dealing with past trauma or maybe just dealing with stress that they don't know how to handle, our brains are incredible machines, and they operate on a very high level, but at the same time, kind of very primal, basic level. So our brains do whatever they can to keep us safe and to keep us alive. So if we are feeling stressed out or we have that past trauma that we haven't worked through, then our brains may kind of gravitate towards whatever coping mechanism feels good to it. Whatever's really easy, whatever it knows will keep us alive and keep us safe. And a lot of times that's food, because food is around us every single day. It's required to live. So it just kind of makes sense that our brain gravitates towards food to deal with stress. So it really comes down to our brains are just trying to keep us alive, that they're trying to keep us safe. They're trying to just help us survive in the world. So I remember there was one other thing that I wanted to say about, sorry, I forgot to turn my call notifications off. Life purpose, lack of life purpose. So that's another reason that issues around food can manifest. So maybe you're kind of just feeling really stuck in your life. You're feeling uninspired, unmotivated. You're in a job that you hate, or maybe you have these dreams for this life that you want to create, but you just don't know how to get there. And you're feeling really stuck, and you just, that can really weigh you down. And in looking in hindsight through my own healing journey around food, that lack of purpose, that lack of vision, that was a huge thing for me. I knew that I wanted to be living a bigger life, but I didn't know how to get there. And I honestly didn't think that I could do it. Like, I looked out in the world and I see all these people living these amazing dreams, but nah, there's no way that I could do that. So my inner gremlins were coming out and saying, nope, that's not for you. That's only for other people. So let's just go eat some food because that'll make you feel better. So lack of life purpose can be another reason that maybe unwanted behaviors around food manifest. But ultimately, I want you guys to shift how you view your unwanted behaviors around food. So if you are struggling with binge eating or overeating or emotional eating or whatever it is, whatever challenge you're facing around food, whenever you're thinking about that, I don't want you to go to this negative place. I don't want you to think that I'm broken, I'm not good enough, I don't have willpower, I'm negative, negative, negative. That leaves you in a victim mentality. I want you to start reframing it. Think about, what is this thing, what is this symptom trying to tell me? What kind of life event have I not fully digested? What past trauma is still lingering there that I might need to work through? Are there areas in my life where I'm lacking vision or I'm lacking purpose? Am I constantly stressed out? What are the stress levels like every day for me? Do I have coping mechanisms for stress? Do I have ways to manage it so that it doesn't start lingering in our bodies and weigh us down, because we just start getting smaller and smaller the more that stress just comes inside of us and stays? And then, do you have proper tools in place and strategies for self-care too? So start looking at it in that light. So if you get the urge to binge eat, or even if you binge eat and it's afterwards, sit there and just think about why that happened. What was it that triggered you? What kind of deeper message do you think that it's trying to send you? And I can guarantee that with this shift, if you can shift out of the negative and more into the positive, it will start making some really profound differences in your life and in your behaviors around food or whatever struggles it is that you're dealing with. And it's not all roses. It's not like all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm going to go from negative to positive and everything's just going to be hunky-dory and all of my issues are going to disappear and everything's going to be great. It's not like that, unfortunately. I wish that I could say there was a magic pill or a magic bullet to get us the results that we want, but honestly, it takes some work. It takes us being willing to be vulnerable. It takes us being willing to dig deep, because I was discovering issues that I had no idea were even issues for me. But once I kind of started unpacking, I like to call it just all of this internal baggage. It's almost like you just pull out one little suitcase and then you open it up and you see what's in there. And there's gonna be a whole bunch of different life experiences in every little suitcase, or it could just be one huge life experience that's in one big suitcase. You just start unpacking those little pieces of it. But in the one phrase mantra that I always come back to, one of my other mentors, Alyssa Nobrega, said is, it works if you work it. So if you are willing to put in a little extra effort and to do a little bit of extra work to get curious about your situation and to see where you can dig deeper, then I can guarantee you will get results. So it works if you work it. So you just have to get out there and work it. So anyways, I just wanted to pop in here and kind of offer some thoughts and some strategies for maybe helping you guys reframe any unwanted behaviors around food, because I know so many of us deal with just these issues around food that kind of hold us back and make us feel like we're failures, and you don't have to be held back and you don't have to feel like you're a failure. So I just wanted to offer those. I hope that they're helpful. If you'd like to discuss more, then definitely leave me comments down below. I'm happy to answer your questions. And then I wanted to let you know too, if you wanted to chat with me, if you're feeling stuck, or if you're stuck around food, if you're feeling stuck around lack of purpose or vision, or just stuck in general and you need a little bit of extra help, I'd like to invite you into a complimentary clarity session with me, so completely free. And we can just chat about your goals and your vision for your life, like what you want out of your life for your health or for your body or whatever it may be. And we can see how we can get you there. So I will leave a link down to my scheduler below, and you guys can pick out a time that works for you if you want to chat. And I would be absolutely honored to chat with you about it and see how I can help you move forward into that life that you've been dreaming about. So I'm going to sign off for today, but hopefully that's been helpful, and I appreciate you guys. I think Karen and Michelle, who were hopping on here with me and staying with me, I really appreciate that. So I will talk to you guys again soon, and have a great day, everybody. Bye.